We learned on Tuesday that Dalian Wanda Group has bailed out on plans to buy property in London, the latest setback for Wanda as China tightens controls on overseas investment. The stiffer regulations don't just apply to private companies. However, state-owned firms are also seeing stricter controls on their investment plans overseas. Mijai explains.
Earlier this month, the government ordered state-owned enterprises to set up proper decision-making systems and to carry out financial feasibility studies before making any important decisions about overseas investments. It also now requires state-owned companies to carefully monitor the deal-making process itself. Shanghai International Port Group is one of Shanghai's state-owned firms that have been very active internationally, including the acquisition of 25% of stake in Belgium's APM terminal Zeebrugge and a 25-year concession on the Israeli port of Haifa. Both are important locations along the Belt and Road. The company made the deals before the new regulations were announced, but says the guidelines will help them better evaluate future foreign projects.
Overseas investment is very different from investment at home. Its negotiation process is more complicated. The number of parties involved in the negotiation are more than at home. The most important thing investing overseas is risk control. The government document actually helps us do better with all of this. Our current procedure is very close to the regulations, but the document helps clarify the details.
While state companies are being told to follow the rules, big private companies are being more monitored and have been told off by the government for some cases of aggressive overseas investment. Dalian Wanda Group is perhaps the best recent example. After Wanda's pullout from the London property deal, however, the plot was just snapped up by two other private Chinese real estate developers for £470 million. Many are beginning to ask, is there so much difference between state-owned firms and big private firms when they are putting their money into overseas projects?
Mine can extend to companies in the private sector who actually have been making more deals than SOEs over the past year. These state-owned or non-state-owned companies oftentimes make overseas investments on credit extended by Chinese lenders. And their aggressive deal-making abroad can potentially raise systematic risks at home, which is exactly what the government has been trying to curb over the past year.
The State Council has now also issued new guidelines on overseas investments by the private sector, encouraging firms to invest in infrastructure and new technology while limiting investment in popular fields like real estate, hotels, cinemas, entertainment, and sports clubs. Outbound investments in agriculture and fishing, oil and mining exploration, and in certain services industry were also giving the green light. Mi Jiayi, ICS for CGTN, Shanghai.